Airports bustling, noisy, and chaotic. The clatter of suitcases rolling across tiled floors, the indistinct hum of conversations blending with announcements echoing overhead. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and join us on Whispered Stories, World for Tales that provoke thought and spark change. For some, airports symbolize the excitement of new adventures, the thrill of far-off destinations. For others, they are a source of stress: long lines, hurried searches for gates, and the occasional misplaced boarding pass. But for Jamari, a Black American man and soft-spoken marketing executive, this particular day at the airport would unveil something far darker. Beneath the surface of routine security measures lay an ugly truth about bias hiding in plain sight. Jamari was no stranger to travel. As a seasoned professional heading to a conference, he had navigated countless airports before. Yet, as he approached the security checkpoint that day, he felt an all-too-familiar unease creeping in. The subtle shift in the atmosphere, the sideways glances from staff, the barely concealed whispers, they were faint, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable to someone who had faced them time and again. He told himself it was paranoia, a defensive mechanism honed over years of similar experiences. But deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to happen. Jamari entered the line, clutching his neatly packed carry-on and laptop bag. As he reached the conveyor belt, he went through the motions with practiced precision: shoes off, laptop out, jacket removed. He placed his belongings on the conveyor belt and stepped through the metal detector. A piercing beep interrupted his stride. He froze momentarily, glancing at the agent stationed nearby. "Step aside, sir," the agent said coldly, motioning to a small, roped-off area. Jamari's heart sank. "Is something wrong?" he asked, his voice calm but tinged with concern. "We'll need to perform an additional screening," the agent replied, their expression unreadable. The tone wasn't just procedural, it was detached, almost accusatory. Jamari complied without protest, stepping into the designated area. Around him, other travelers passed through security with ease. Their items barely warranted a glance from the agents, yet Jamari's carry-on was subjected to an exhaustive search. Every pocket was unzipped, every item meticulously examined. The whispers among the crowd grew louder. Passengers glanced his way, some with curiosity, others with suspicion. Jamari could feel their eyes boring into him, making the moment even more unbearable. "TSA protocol," one agent muttered as they sifted through his belongings. But the inconsistencies were glaring. Jamari's appearance, a neatly dressed man in his mid-30s, with a polished demeanor, should have offered no cause for concern. Yet here he was, singled out and scrutinized, while others waltzed through security with minimal effort. As Jamari's patience wore thin, the questions began. "Why are you carrying this equipment? Who packed your bags? What's the purpose of your trip?" Each query came fast and sharp, as though designed to trip him up. Jamari answered each one calmly, his tone unwavering, but it was clear his responses did little to dispel their suspicions. "This is unnecessary," he thought, though he dared not voice it aloud. Experience had taught him that speaking up often made things worse. The delay dragged on, stretching from minutes to what felt like an eternity. Jamari's frustration grew, but he kept his composure. Around him, the crowd's attention was fixed squarely on the unfolding scene. Among the onlookers stood a man in a baseball cap and sunglasses, watching intently. At first, the man remained silent, his eyes darting between Jamari and the TSA agents. He seemed to be debating whether to intervene, but as the minutes ticked by and the interrogation grew more invasive, he made his decision. The man stepped forward, pulling off his cap to reveal his unmistakable face. Tom Cruise, global superstar and household name. The murmur among the crowd grew louder as they recognized him. "Excuse me," Tom said, his voice firm yet respectful. "Is there an issue here?" The agent conducting the search looked up, startled. "Just a routine check, sir," they replied, their tone faltering. Tom tilted his head slightly, his piercing gaze unrelenting. "Routine? I've been standing here for a while, and this doesn't look routine to me. It looks targeted. Are you sure there's no mistake?" The lead TSA officer arrived, their expression a mix of confusion and unease. By now, the crowd was fully engaged, their murmurs turning into outright commentary. "Why is this man being treated differently?" Tom continued, his voice carrying authority without aggression. "He's answering every question. There's nothing suspicious about him or his belongings. What exactly are you looking for?" For Jamari, the intervention was both shocking and validating. Here was someone with immense influence calling out the injustice he had grown accustomed to enduring. In moments like these, the power of allyship becomes undeniable. Tom Cruise didn't have to intervene. He could have continued on his way, avoiding the hassle and confrontation. But he chose to use his platform to shine a light on the discrimination unfolding before him. The lead officer, now visibly uncomfortable, muttered something to the original agent. After a brief exchange, Jamari was finally cleared to proceed. His belongings were hastily repacked, and a muttered apology followed, though it was far from sincere. Tom turned to Jamari, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You handled that with dignity. I'm sorry you had to go through it." Jamari nodded, his gratitude evident. "Thank you for stepping in. It means more than you know." As the two parted ways, Jamari couldn't help but reflect on the moment. It was a small victory, but a significant one. For once, someone had seen him not as a suspect, but as a human being deserving of fairness and respect. This incident is a stark reminder of the systemic biases that persist in our society. It's about more than inconvenience. It's about the emotional toll of being judged unfairly, of constantly having to prove your innocence simply because of the color of your skin. But it's also a reminder of the power of allyship. Whether you're a global superstar or an everyday traveler, standing up against injustice can make a profound difference. Have you ever witnessed or experienced discrimination? How did it make you feel? What did you do? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's create a space for dialogue and change. As Jamari walked toward his gate, his mind replayed the events of the morning. The sting of bias was still fresh, but so was the warmth of Tom's intervention. It was a moment he would carry with him, a reminder that even small acts of courage can leave a lasting impact. This is Whispered Stories World. Thank you for watching and for being part of this conversation. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that inspire, challenge, and connect us all. Until next time, stay kind, stay aware, and always stand up for what's right.